Have you ever walked around a community and noticed that no one's at a house, that it's vacant? And then you walk by that house again periodically and you realize that people don't live there. It's either a vacation home or someone inherited it, they left it, or an investor just has it sitting. You see this more prevalent in resort areas by the beach or by the lake. But certainly, even in a regular community, it's a reality that there are vacant homes in America. It's estimated through the 2020 census that approximately 10% of homes in America are vacant, just not used. And that means 1 out of every 10 homes just sits there. For whatever reason, someone doesn't want to sell it. Whether they, again, inherited it, whether they just have it and they use it maybe once a year as a vacation home, whatever it may be. I certainly see that in Florida with snowbirds. A lot of people out of state or out of the country bought homes and they don't even rent them. They just sit. I saw that at the Jersey Shore. And I even saw that driving in country land. There's a lot of lots of land in the country that have a home, but no cars. It's boarded up. It's just vacant. So that's an interesting statistic that 10% of homes in America are vacant. And that may apply throughout most modern countries. I'm not sure. But as I make this, it's 2022 and we're still at record low inventory for housing. And what would make people use those 10% of homes or sell them? Well, if a recession does happen, and a recession is pretty much measured by unemployment ticks up, people get laid off, the stock market goes down, and therefore there's less money in the system and people look to get money somewhere, so they liquidate their hard assets. And one of them may be a secondary home that's vacant and not used. I think there'll probably always be some vacant homes throughout the country because there's always some level of inefficiency in everything in life. You probably always have 1 to 5% of something that's never used. But maybe, that would bring a little bit of inventory on the market. In addition to that, it's it's just an interesting thing that, someone would have that much money invested in something and just have it sitting. But that being said, I know some people, middle working class people that aren't wealthy, that they have a second home that sits. So, I guess it's just a reality of what life is. So, but I remember walking on the Jersey Shore with my mom and we were looking at houses by the beach. And we were just like window shopping. And my mom said, Sam, isn't it amazing that all these houses, especially the big ones, they're never used? And we would go back in different times of the year. And for the most part, they were never used. And I remember one time there was this like multi-million-dollar house right on the beach. And it was always empty every time we'd walk past it. But it was a beautiful, amazing house right on the beach. And finally, one time when we walked by it, we saw a car in the driveway. And I think we were talking to another person who was walking in the area. And we asked about the house because we were amazed that someone was there. And they said, oh, yeah, that person is a doctor. They were some type of doctor. And they were from out of state. And they just come, once a year for maybe a week vacation or whatever. And they use it. And the rest of the year it just sits. So then you say to yourself, why wouldn't someone just rent something, especially if you have money? It doesn't matter how much the rent is. Just rent something for a week. Well, one other dynamic is homes are a little bit of an emotional thing. It's an emotional purchase and it's an emotional attachment. It's like, and it transcends economic levels because there's a lot of poor people that have storage units. Why? Emotional attachment. They don't use it. That's the perfect example, right? You saw these rich people, they don't even use the houses. Well, these poor people, they complain about not having anything and they don't even get rid of their storage unit. So it cuts both ways because it's human psychology. But the other aspect is if you have money and you want to diversify, there's only so much you can put in savings. In America, you can only put $250,000 in a savings account and have it insured by the government. Certainly, you can open multiple accounts, but the normal person, even if you're wealthy, you only want to put a $250,000 in savings. Then you may put some in the stock market in a brokerage account, whether the index fund or whatever. But again, when you're wealthy, you want to diversify because you want to mitigate your risk. You've already made your money. You don't need to take excessive risk. Most people who lose money take it through too much risk. So you put some in the stock market, you put some in savings, you put some in this or that, right? And you put some in real estate to diversify your portfolio, to mitigate your risk because you've already tamed your wealth. And so for some of these vacant homes, it's just two aspects. One is an emotional attachment. Two is it may be an asset allocation. To me, it could be a poor asset allocation because even if it keeps up with inflation, there's still a capital expenditure to pay property taxes, to landscape it, to heat it, to cool it. You can't just let that house sit there without having the air conditioning running, without being clean. Mold will pick up. And if you're not renting it out, then it's not returning. It's probably not even keeping up with inflation if it's not rented out on average. Because again, we're talking about vacant houses, and 10% of houses in America are vacant. So look around your community when you go for a walk at night, when you're on vacation and maybe you're by the beach or by the lake, look around. When you're driving through the country, look around. Do you see boarded up houses? Those aren't probably wealthy people. Take a note and just get this understanding that the statistics show us that 10% of homes are vacant. 1 out of 10 homes are not used at all. They just sit there. And inventory your life. Use this as an opportunity to inventory your life. What do you have that's inefficient? And why don't you let it go? Is it emotional? Because if you're keeping it, it may be hurting you financially, but maybe emotionally you just can't bear to separate. And I can understand that. It's not easy. But either way, I thought I'd give you this video. If you appreciate my videos, please click the thumbs up. Subscribe if you're not. If you want to support the channel, please click that blue join button. I truly appreciate it. Thank you to all my members. Thank you, thank you, thank you. There's more free videos on my channel. Check out my playlist and let it run. Share the video via text, social media, etc. Thank you. Keep showing up, and keep showing up. Why do I repeat myself? Hey, you got to repeat to keep your mind focused on what you're trying to do. Because your mind will easily drift, believe me. And a lot of people, they mind all over the place. Okay. All right, guys and girls. Thank you.